the US Supreme Court has upheld a law banning TikTok in the country on the grounds the China-based app is a threat to national security.
Now, the popular social media app has over 170 million users in America, many of whom have now turned to another China-based app known as RedNote, and they've received a warm welcome online.
Hello, TikTok refugees.
Hello to all the TikTok refugee. I'm Jason.
Hello, TikTok refugee from the U.S.
Hello, TikTok refugees from the U.S. Welcome to the Red Book.
What up, refugees? Welcome to this magical place.
Isn't that lovely?
That's a very 21st century bunch of things to be saying.
TikTok refugees. Well, to tell us about the buzz over RedNote and whether TikTok refugees will be happy with their switch, we're now joined by Fan Yang from the University of Melbourne, who is an expert in China's digital technology and its effects on political activity and identity. Fan, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thanks for having me, Felda.
Okay, so we're a little bit confused here. If you're migrating from TikTok to RedNote or Redbook, as it's known as well, what's the difference in terms of, how it works and the algorithm?
Definitely happy to help here. I'd like to give it a little bit introduction about what RedNote is. And RedNote is a social e-commerce platform, which means that it converges content creation, e-commerce, and social networking all together. And its brand itself is a kind of lifestyle platform, and its brand itself is a political application, which is kind of in comparison to, for example, WeChat and Weibo and even Twitter, which has a kind of have a political orientation. But during the course of our study in recent years, we started finding that Red can be political as well. And compared to, for example, as I mentioned, WeChat, Weibo, and Douyin, which is the Chinese version of TikTok, RedNote strategically curated an audience, and they appeal to Chinese middle-class communities and female users in particular. And it is one of the most female-friendly application in China, and this is largely influenced by the history of the platform. So we have been studying RedNote and its algorithm for a bit of time, and its algorithm is actually pretty complicated. So we know that, for example, Tencent and ByteDance, they have we call it one platform, two system, but ByteDance is a different case that TikTok and Douyin essentially, have two different systems, and something like WeChat as well. It's known as one app with two systems.
Right.
So Red so far has one system. So no matter you register your account with a Chinese mobile phone number, whether you register your account with your WeChat account, and whether you register your account with a non-Chinese Australian mobile phone number, we essentially download the same app, and it's being governed under the same system.
Right.
And the algorithm is based on demographic features, your age, your geolocation, your gender, and slowly your preferences and your browsing history as well.
So
and
in that way, it's quite similar to
yeah.
Instagram, I suppose. But I just want to get to the point that, as we've seen there's been quite a warm welcome for the TikTok refugees. And no doubt this must create some very unique cultural exchanges. I just want to read to you something that one user said. Wow, it's like looking over the Chinese wall. And for me, it's been my first time seeing in. What's been the sort of cultural exchange that you've seen between the TikTok refugees and those who've been on RedNote for a long time?
It's interesting. So I just saw a post today that there's someone based within the company, and they made a post that they're developing or refining the translation function for the incoming US-based users, non-Chinese speakers, which is really interesting. And also, it's like one thing I found interesting is that you mentioned that, okay, it's so good to look inside the Great Firewall, right? But through years of Red users, as I just mentioned, that the majority or the user base is targeting middle class Chinese, and there's a preference towards what content is like, what social media content is like outside China. So throughout years, we have seen content being reposted or reshared out of Instagram Reel, out of YouTube, out of TikTok, and they move this content on RedNote, and they translate those content for China's users. So at one point, it's like, a part of China's users, they are willing to be exposed to what's going on outside China, what the kind of content is like outside China. And then we have, people based in the US go, oh, finally, we got the chance to see what's going on in China.
Fan, this, of course, creates a unique opportunity for many to interact with someone from a different culture as well. Do you see something like a new online community being created now that we're seeing these two different cultures joining? You've got the Western American culture, and then you've got the Chinese culture as well.
Yeah, of course. I think it would be a really unique opportunity for us to study as well. And I think it's not just about, Chinese culture and American culture. Through years of study, we have seen, for example, Australian politicians being on RedNote, mobilizing their campaign, talking to Chinese migrant communities as well. And one thing that I found quite interesting, that it is exactly because of this, rush from US based users. Some bloggers reported that it takes longer for them to upload an English language short video. So previously it might be a couple of minutes, but now it can be 4 to 8 hours because RedNote is currently under-resourced to assess and evaluate non-Chinese or English language short videos.